listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Tennessee Arts Commission webinar for the new Creative Placemaking Grant program. We have muted all audience members for the duration of the webinar. During the presentation, questions can be submitted through the chat box on your screen. We will reserve time at the end of the slide presentation to address your questions. Without further delay, I'd like to introduce the Tennessee Arts Commission's Executive Director, Ann Pope.
Thank you, Shannon. Yes, I am Ann Pope, Executive Director of the Tennessee Arts Commission. I want to welcome you to our webinar for the new Creative Placemaking Grant Program. This grants competition is designed to help strengthen communities through the arts. By using unique arts and cultural assets, communities can enhance economic vitality, livability, and growth. Over the next hour or so, we'll tell you why creative placemaking, how to apply, and address any questions or concerns you have. Let me begin with the why and some examples of creative placemaking. Then Hal Partlow, our Associate Director of Grants, will lead you through the program requirements and details of applying. Shannon Ford, our Director of Community Arts Development, will discuss the selection criteria and review the process for applications. We'll then answer your questions, any questions you might have. As we go along, if you have a question, as Shannon said, you can use the chat box of your screen to submit those questions, and we'll answer them toward the end of the program. Okay, why creative placemaking? Tennessee, we all know, is home to a wealth of creative talent and is rich in arts and cultural assets. Creative placemaking is a strategy that communities across Tennessee should consider as a way to help meet challenges and direct change. It can be a way to revive or enhance neighborhoods, downtowns, underutilized places, or other community assets. Creative placemaking can contribute to a community's livability and prosperity. The arts have their greatest impact, we believe, at the Tennessee Arts Commission when they are a part of a coordinated strategy to help address a community's values, issues, or aspirations. Authenticity in arts engagement is important. And what we mean by that is when people understand how arts and culture relates to their home, their history, or their traditions, they have a better understanding of their community, often referred to as a sense of place in a community. The arts can bring people together for shared experiences that bridge differences, build understanding, and can contribute to community cohesion and stability. Places and spaces shaped or enhanced by the arts often invite greater public awareness of existing or potential community assets. This visibility often can build momentum for revitalization efforts in a community. The program description, guidelines, and application can all be accessed online at the website address on your screen. Now, what is this grant for? This grant, projects that have a long-term goal of enhancing the distinctive character of local Tennessee places for positive economic and community outcomes. Examples of eligible projects or activities may include, but are not limited to, arts used as a catalyst to revitalize downtowns or neighborhoods, the development of an arts or cultural incubator or apprenticeship program, development of an activity or project that encourages greater engagement with arts in state parks, farmers markets, or other natural, unique, ecological, or recreational assets. Transformation of a perceived community liability into a community asset through the arts. Other examples of projects and goals might include the development of a collaborative marketing and consumer discount program for local or regional creative businesses, or other incentives for encouraging creative enterprise growth. Promoting such things like the documentation of local craft traditions and creation of a digital archive like a region in Southwest Virginia did. The feasibility study for converting abandoned property into artist housing. A feasibility study of a public art program. Or using arts and culture to address a community deficit or liability, such as if a community had a high rate of homelessness, hunger, or drug abuse. Now, you may be asking, what is creative placemaking? Well, we at the Tennessee Arts Commission believe that creativity can be a catalyst for innovation, entrepreneurship, and invention. Creativity is also an essential quality of a competitive workforce. Many organizations, businesses, and local governments collaborate to reinvest in and revitalize their communities, and the arts often represent a way to cultivate and capitalize upon creativity with lasting economic and community benefits. So, in creative placemaking, partners from public, private, nonprofit, and community sectors strategically shape the physical and social character of a neighborhood, town, city, or region around arts and cultural activities, or around a community's arts and cultural assets. Creative placemaking animates public and private spaces, rejuvenates structures and streetscapes, improves local business visibility and public safety, and brings diverse people together to build shared understanding of culture and community. Now, what are some examples of creative placemaking? We thought that the best way to show you what creative placemaking is to give you some illustrations of what communities across the country have done to help develop their own creative local solutions after assessing their local assets, liabilities, opportunities, and barriers. It is often said that if a problem or opportunity is in the community, then the solution is too. So the most competitive applications are going to be those that have a project that is reflective of the community or communities in which they live. All right, let's start with the first example. The Warm Farm Institute food chain. Marrying the local food movement with the arts in rural Wisconsin, Warm Farm Institute, which is a nonprofit, created an arts-infused caravan of mobile farm stands delivering a marketplace of food, art, and ideas throughout this 8-county, very rural region. So these were mobile farm stands that were used for all kinds of activities, including local food and other arts or community-related activities. Very successful. Our second example is in Covington, Kentucky. The city of Covington partnered with American Sign Museum to bring CoSign, an initiative created to provide local artist-designed storefront signage in area businesses to a neighborhood targeted for economic redevelopment and revitalization. With a focus on education for both small business owners and artists, the initiative provided employment and training opportunity for artists while creating new signage for small businesses to attract visitors to an area known for commerce and creativity. And you may want to look at Berea, Kentucky as another example of a community who used signage to help identify its robust and arts and cultural scene. Our third example is called Open House. Artist Matthew Mazzata, the Coleman Center for the Arts, and the people of York, Alabama, incidentally with a population of under 2,500, teamed up to transform a blighted property in downtown York into a new public space. Open House lives mostly in the form of a house, reminding the town that of once was this blighted property, which sits between the grocery store and the post office in downtown York. And it opens up when the community wants to enjoy shows, plays, movies, and other events, that any other event people can think of that supports community life in York. When the theater is folded back up into the shape of a house, the property is a public park for anyone to enjoy. Our fourth example, Project Storefronts. Project Storefronts is a program that encourages artists and creative entrepreneurs to test the viability of new creative and arts-related retail and other businesses by providing access to empty retail spaces. Several partners, government and the private sector, nonprofit communities came together in New Haven, Connecticut to create Project Storefronts, and now it's in its third phase and very, very successful. Our fifth example, and one of my favorites, was created to honor the historic method of communication in the rural South, the Holleran Heritage Festival in Spivey's Corner, North Carolina. It occurs annually on the second Saturday in September and seeks to preserve the distinct culture, historical, and agricultural heritage of this area of North Carolina. The festival includes live music, antique farm equipment displays and demonstrations, living history exhibitions, a classic car show, and the annual National Holleran Contest. And our final example, the flood wall that protects historic downtown Paducah, Kentucky from the Ohio and Tennessee rivers overflowing their banks includes 3 city blocks of painted murals that capture important moments in Paducah's history. The murals were designed and painted by Robert Dafford and the Dafford muralist of Lafayette, Louisiana. Often called projects, these murals are called Small Towns, Big Arts because they focus on small towns. This particular project in Paducah began in 1996. The last panel was completed in 2007. Each mural panel has an interpretive plaque with a short history lesson on the scene depicted in the panel. And these murals are listed as a top tourist destination for the city. Now, I would like to turn it over to Hal Partlow, our Director of Grants, to talk about the particulars of this grants competition.
Thank you very much, Ann. I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to just jump right in. How many creative placemaking grants will the Tennessee Arts Commission award? I know that you're all waiting with bated breath. The Tennessee Arts Commission expects to provide 5 to 10 awards ranging from $5,000 to $8,000 for projects that serve one county or place. However, applications that involve partnerships of 2 or more towns, cities, and or counties can request up to $10,000. At least 2 awards will be made to rural applicants, and a total of $50,000 in grants will be awarded in 2016, fiscal year 2016. Who can apply? Well, the lead applicant is, I'll back up. The Tennessee Arts Commission encourages communities to involve public, private, including nonprofit organizations, and institutional partners in the development of the creative placemaking proposal. Applicants that target one place may apply for up to $8,000. And applications that involve partnerships of 2 or more towns, cities, and or counties can request up to $10,000. The lead applicant is eligible to apply for this grant if the organization meets one of the following qualifications. The organization is an entity of local government or a regional quasi-governmental entity like a development district or a human resource agency, or the applicant is a nonprofit organization legally chartered in Tennessee and in possession of a determination letter from the Internal Revenue Service declaring the organization exempt from federal income tax under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. All creative placemaking grants will be awarded and dispersed to the lead applicants only. And we'd like to point out that schools, colleges, and universities are ineligible to serve as lead applicants, although they would be welcome as partners and they would show strong community support. Now I will go over some examples of eligible activities for the Creative Placemaking Grant. I know that Anne did discuss some of these as well, but we'll repeat some of them. Projects that involve professional artists and designers, arts in public places, cultural inventories or local community asset mapping, feasibility studies, apprenticeship programs, or the creation of new festivals or community events, building on local assets or a local identity. Examples of ineligible expenses for Creative Placemaking Grant category include operating expenses for art organizations, marketing and promotional materials, and standard Tennessee Arts Commission funding restrictions as listed in our legal requirements at the website, at the link that's on the screen now and you can find on our website. I want to point out, however, that for the Creative Placemaking Grant category, costs for equipment, if it is integral to the project, will be allowable. So how do you apply? Applications must be submitted online through the Commission's website at the link that's on your screen. This will be published for you. Also, we want you to know that you should have all your documents ready before completing the form, including downloading and completing the grant budget form. Please use the Save and Continue Later link at the end of the form if you need to finish it at another time, because if you close this window before saving, you will lose your data. Select the Submit button only when completing the form and uploading all required documents are finished. So what supporting documents must you have? We would request an application narrative, maximum of 6 pages in 12-point font, to be uploaded on your application form, and we would like you to address the following items. Place-based need or opportunity that the proposed project or initiative will address through the arts. This would be the where and why of the application. Description of proposed project or initiative, including anticipated outcomes and how you will measure the success. That would be the what of the application. We would want the partner profiles and roles, a description of partner organizations and how each will contribute. This will be the who and how of your project. And sustainability. How will the activities continue at the end of the grant period? Describe current or proposed revenue generating activities. Staff background, include a resume of project leader and brief bios of key staff and the contractors that may be involved, and then a timeline. We'd like to note the key project milestones and outcomes. Another supporting document we would like for you to upload is a project budget and narrative. We would ask you to download and complete the grant budget form that is found on the right-hand menu of the Creative Placemaking page before starting the application form. And in this download, in the budget chart, list project expenses and by the funding source. Be sure to show at least $1 match for every $4 of grant funding in the grant budget form. Now, it says exactly here, but we need at least, because if you're leveraging more money, that's always important for us to know about. Add a budget narrative on the second page of the budget form describing the elements of each expense line item and the source of the funds. And describe any project support beyond the minimum match in the budget narrative. Save and upload onto the application form when you are prompted. We would also request a third document, which would be a map. We want you to include on the map field on the application a link to a map indicating the location of the proposed activities that will help reviewers not from your area understand the where of your application. A map generated through an online map application such as Google Maps is totally acceptable. We want you to describe your project geographical boundaries in the narrative, the first uploaded document. And the last of the supporting documents we're going to request is letters of support or evidence of community support to be uploaded on your application form. Now, the time frame for this grant. As you know, our applications are already live on our website. Applications are due by midnight on July 17th, 2015 for projects that will take place between October 1st, 2015 and September 30th, 2016. Selections will be announced by August 31st, 2015. And our next section of our webinar will deal with how applications will be assessed. And that I will turn over to Shannon Ford, our Community Arts Development Program Director. Shannon?
Thank you, Hal. The applications are going to be assessed using several criteria. But first I should tell you that the Commission will assemble an independent panel with expertise in creative placemaking as well as community and economic development to review the applications in mid to late August. The selection criteria includes building on the distinctiveness of place using the arts or cultural assets and demonstrating a potential to stimulate economic or community growth. Also, evidence that the project actively and effectively addresses a community purpose, issue, or need. The capability of applicants to perform the activity, including evidence of financial or the in-kind commitment for the local match. The level of community support, which can be demonstrated by letters of support and indications of active participation from community stakeholders or partners. Strong applications will include 2 or more partners or types of partners, including private, government, private businesses, government, arts and cultural nonprofits, or other community partners. And finally, articulation of clear, measurable outcomes, including sustainability. In addition, in addition to the merit ratings on the criteria, the review panel will seek a diversity of project designs, locations, and community settings across Tennessee for these creative placemaking pilot projects. And then finally, in terms of completing the grants, what information will the Commission require of grantees? You will be required to submit a final evaluation, a final financial report of expenditures, and request for payment forms to the Commission by September 30th, 2016. I would also note that final grant payments will be reimbursements for expenses that have already been incurred and paid by the grantee. So that just be aware of that. And those will need to be documented through the final financial report of expenditures and the request for payment form. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. We are ready for questions. So I will look through the chat box to see what questions we have. Looks like the first question is about annual community projects that an organization has presented over the past 5 years and has not received TAC funding for. And they are asking, would it be possible to request this funding for these projects? That is a maybe. The actual projects, we would need to know how they are being developed for the specific community and how they are place-based. If it is something that is an annual project and you're requesting operating support for that, then that would be ineligible. But if it is a new initiative, then it could be eligible. The next question, let's see, there is a question about, could a symphony partner with a church? It would not be a religious program, but an arts activity based on musical performance for a downtown development. And I will let Hal Partlow address that question.
Sure. Yes, would be the short answer for that question. We're looking for applications that are that have diversified partnerships. And a church is certainly a good way to identify community needs and to reach out into the community. So yes, that project would be potentially funded. It's certainly eligible for application. Then what we want you to do is really structure your application around the evaluation criteria, make sure that you're building a competitive grant application around the project. But there would be no restrictions from partnering with a church.
I also see that there are several questions about whether this PowerPoint presentation and the audio will be available after the presentation, and the answer is yes. We are recording this presentation, and we will put a link on our website for anybody to access at their leisure later. So that should happen in the next few days. There will be a link with the webinar recording. And then I see that if schools are not eligible as the primary, can the school foundation be the prime? School foundation meaning is if we're talking about a school district or the county office that handles school district payments, that's a possibility, but it would need to demonstrate that it is not for, it's a community college that has a foundation. Thank you for clarifying. And
if that foundation, if you don't mind, Shannon,
Sure.
I'll jump in. If that foundation has a 501c3, it is in fact a nonprofit organization, but it would be eligible. But again, for competitive applications, you must show community-wide support and that the project itself is based in authentic community assets and or cultural forms.
If you have a grant pending with the Tennessee Arts Commission, are you still eligible to apply? The answer is yes. We are not restricting any of our grantees from applying for this particular project. And let's see, would arts encompassing performing arts? I'm sorry, let me clarify. In terms of if you have a grant pending, you can't apply to this program, the Creative Placemaking Program, for the same activities that you've already applied for. And so the next question, would arts encompassing performing arts performances, musical performances, and et cetera, and not only visual arts? Yes, I mean, we certainly recognize that creative placemaking is not just about the visual arts or any kind of public art, but also performing arts and literary arts. There's all sorts of different ways to implement the different media that are available. So yes, performing arts are eligible. Would donations of materials be considered in kind? donations with regard to the $1 to $4 match, yes, that is exactly what an in-kind donation is.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to just stress that the 1 to 4 match, of course, is cash and in kind. I know we've said that, but I want to reiterate that because that's somewhat different from some of our other grant categories.
Okay. Looks like we've reached the end of our questions. If there are any other points that we would like to address, Ann?
This is Ann Pope. I would like to just reiterate that and to emphasize the selection criteria for the applications. It's very important to be the most competitive. You need to really look at those that selection criteria and address each one of those. So that's very important. Additionally, we recognize that this is a new grant category for us. And so any questions that you have, the applications are going to be scored solely on the written application or the online application that you submit. So any questions that you might have, we'd like to provide whatever technical assistance that is in demand to anyone out there. So you can contact Shannon Ford or Hal Partlow if you have a specific question. Additionally, we have had one request, a request for communities, for a regional series of different communities for us to come out and in essence give this presentation again and answer questions. And if you have a proposal like that, we'll do the best to accommodate that to come out to your area to because we recognize this is a new grant category.
Thank you, Ann. And I would also point out that all Tennessee Arts Commission grant programs allow for applicants to submit draft applications prior to the deadline. And we are happy to review the drafts and help you put your best foot forward before that deadline. So if you want to do that, we certainly encourage it.
And I guess they're all looking at me to wrap up this webinar. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this first of, we hope, many webinars that will help enlighten new and ongoing grants and initiatives from the Tennessee Arts Commission. We appreciate your tuning in. Please, as Ann said, contact Shannon or myself, and you will find that the contact information will be listed on the grant application on our website. And I guess I will say good afternoon, good morning, and have a good day. Oh, Holly,